Okay, Raider fans, here we go. The Boneline.
7755 Raider. 7755 Raider.
Throw the nation a bone. Throw me a bone. Get on there and throw your bones. If you don't like your first recording, do it 2, 3, 5 times. I don't care. We'll pick out the best one. Don't be shy. How could you be shy? You're a Raider fan. No, we're all loud and proud. Get on the bone line because we got some guys shouting it out right here. We got some great takes, and here they are. From the nation to your station.
Okay, Raider Nation, you know what time it is? It is time to throw those bones. Yep, the last bone line of the season, but definitely not the last bone line for the Raider Nation podcast. Try not to go over 3 minutes. You already know the drill, so there's no need to go over the rules over and over again. Without further ado, let's get to the bone line. And our first caller is Raul, not Raider Paul. Let's hear what he has to say. Take it away.
Raider Nation, Raider Greg, Raider Brandy, Raider Prez. Turn out the lights. The party never started. 2024 was a dud for us. 4-13? Well, it is what it is. Thank goodness for the season to be over. I feel bad for everybody that made the trek to Las Vegas. Well, maybe you'll have better luck in the slots. Because hoping that the Raiders win only happened 4 times this year. We were on fire for a while, but I guess fires eventually get turned off. Anyhow, here's to this season finally being over and to a great off season where everything gets blown up and to hopefully the last losing season. On another note, I'd like to say thank you guys for the well wishes. Family's doing better. When you go to Vegas, just don't drink anything from strangers. Yeah, flashbacks of the Coliseum, I guess. But anyhow, hope you guys had a great New Year's. Hope 2025 off season is much better. I do see here that the Kansas City Chiefs took a 2-week vacation, so more than likely they're not going to repeat. But who cares? Our season is over. This is Raul Oliveros. You guys have a great New Year's. Hope to hear from you guys soon. And I am out.
Well, I'm glad it's over also too, my friend. Yep, the season is over with. Coach AP is one and done as far as being like the head coach. Yep, only 4 wins and all gone. And who knows what's going to happen, man? Who knows what's going to happen? And I'll try not to drink from strangers, man, even though I'm going to have a good drink. That's for sure. And hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. And we look forward to hearing from you again there. Thank you for calling. And our next caller is Raider Tony. And I hope everything is okay with those fires up there, my good man. Hopefully we get a chance to get an update. But let's hear what he has to say.
Raider Nation, Raider Prez. This is Raider Tony out in Susanville, California. And, well, Thank God the season's over for us, because this was definitely one of the top 5 worst seasons I've seen us have. This is right up there with the year that we started 0-10 back in 2014, I think it was, and the Art Shell year, when the great Art Shell made the mistake of bringing back his buddy that was running a bread and breakfast up in Idaho, Tom Walsh, as the offensive coordinator, and that doomed him that year. And so anyway, this game was like just reminiscent of the whole season. We started off good, it was competitive, and then just completely fell apart, man. And the effort was still there, but I hate to say it because I did want AP to succeed, and I think had things been done differently, the season would have gone a lot better. But I think he is gonna lose his job. I just don't think Tom Brady now, as a minority owner with a big voice, is gonna vouch for keeping AP. I think this was it. Not everything was AP's fault, man. I mean, it wasn't AP's fault that half the team was injured and we had all those injuries, and who knows how things would have gone had we not had those injuries. And then but the things that his fault, the game management stuff, and then gosh, man, Luke Getsy was horrible as an offensive coordinator. So, that was that I think was the big thing that set back the Raiders this year, and I think is going to cost AP his job. Getsy as a coordinator, and then not having a head coach. Not having a quarterback. It just Minshew was just not the answer. And then I don't know. We should have started Aiden. Maybe Aiden would have been the guy this year. I think starting Minshew was a big mistake too. But the biggest thing was Getsy being the offensive coordinator, and then I think that's it for AP. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point this week the announcement is made that he's fired and he's not coming back. And I really liked him. I really wanted him to succeed. It just didn't work out. We'll see what happens with this off season. This will be one of the most interesting off seasons in the past few years. I think that, who knows, I think that Tom would like to bring in Mike Vrabel as our new head coach. I think that's what Tom would like to see, but who knows? The Patriots just fired their head coach, and so Mike Vrabel, being a former Patriot, might go there. Who knows? But man, oh man, I hope they take their time, and, Mark and Tom and Tom Telesco, and get a plan together and figure out where they want to go, because they got to get this right. We can't be going through head coaches every other year. This reminds me of the late 2000s, when poor Al was, he was just trying to win another Super Bowl so bad, and, was just, losing patience with coaches. So we'll see how it goes, but, can't wait to hear the podcast, and great job this season with the podcast, Raider Prez. I know I really enjoyed it and look forward to, continuing to hear the podcast, and shout out to Raider Greg also, who was right. He was right about AP, and he was right about where the Raiders were at. I got to give it to him. So anyway, I'm out.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, man. How can we forget about that damn bread and the old bread and breakfast with Tom? I'm so sorry. Oh man, they did a skit on that, man. I never forget that. They made fun of it. I think it was Fox Sports, and it was a parody of Art Shell and Tom, whatever his name was. You said he he was running a bread and breakfast betting, man, and poor Art Shell, man. His intention was good, but he was just loyal, and that was a very disastrous season there.
2006.
And the thing that hurt us the most was the bad play calling by Tom, mayor of Brokeback, Idaho, Flapjack Flippin' Geek Walsh. He is absolutely clueless when it comes to play calling. Shell, when questioned after the game, were you happy with the plays that were called by Tom Walsh? Yes, I am very happy with his play calling. Well, I say that's horse shit. How can he be happy with the play calling when the players aren't happy with the play calling? I'm sure the other coaches aren't happy with the play calling. I know I'm not happy with the frickin' play calling, and I know that the rest of the Raider Nation is frickin' flipped out about this guy's play calling. Well, I'll tell you right now, somebody needs to get his head. Thanks for the memories. Thanks for the memories, Tom Walsh. First of all, before I get into my spiel here, I want to thank Tom Walsh, really, for going in there and having a tough job, man. He had a tough job, and the guy, he sacked up, really, because he knew he was out of the game, but he was trying. Art Shell put his confidence in Tom, and you guys know how I felt about Tom Walsh in the beginning, because I went over it very explicitly and then tried to bury it, just like, cats do. And that's kind of what that was all about. I want to thank Tom for the effort he put in. I'm sure he tried his very best. I'm sure his efforts were everything he could give. And it just wasn't enough. Not enough for the Raiders. Not enough for the Raider Nation. That's for doggone sure. And of course, no one will forget this one. Tom Walsh, the Scarecrow.
Oh, I'm a failure because I haven't got a brain.
That's the trouble. I can't make up my mind. I haven't got a brain. Only straw.
How can you talk if you haven't got a brain?
I don't know. But some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they?
Yes, I guess you're right. Well, what would you do with a brain if you had one?
Do? Why, if I had a brain, I could while away the hours.
And of course, Tom Walsh from Brokeback, Idaho. We can't forget the Tom Walsh Mr. Potato Head take. That was funny.
Announcing a new arrival.
Mr. Potato Head?
Oh, that's me.
Congratulations. It's a potato. It's Mr. Potato Head family. There's Mr., Mrs., and baby too. Potato Head family.
And Tom the Turkey. Tom, thanks for the memories. I'll always have to reflect back on this year and remember how pitiful our offense was. So, back to your street lights and sewer problems. Back to flipping flapjacks out of your ass crack. Nice talking to you, Tom. Please don't come back. We almost won this game. You know why? I'll tell you in the third quarter. I could hear the voice of Rod Serling in the Twilight Zone. You're traveling through a time and space. You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension of not only sight and sound, but of mind. There's a signpost up ahead. The next stop. The end zone.
Art Shell was a little too old school. The players quit on him, and he had a fallout with Randy Moss. I know Randy Moss was saying he was getting tired of walking on eggshells, and it was just disastrous, man. So, AP, he lost his job. So he's now a statistic of former Raider coaches that came and went. It's unfortunate, but you know how it go. And in fairness, as I gathered my thoughts and took my personal feelings out of it, he was over his head, man. Clock management and a few other stuff. It just was evident, man, that a head coach, if he maybe if he had one more year to prove himself, though, but as it looked, man, it probably was best to move on. And I'll just leave it at that. I hated to see him go because I got attached to him, and his personality kind of grew on us. Well, it did grow on us, kind of, it did. But we know how they go. So anyway, Brother Tony, I hope everything is well, and be safe. And our next caller is Cheesehead Raider, representing Wisconsin.
Raider Nation, this is the Cheesehead Raider calling from Wisconsin, and we lost to the nutless, boltless, chargeless Chargers last game of the season. So really a recap, and it's really just going to keep on saying the same thing. I think you give AP another year. We've got the the New England Patriots fired their coach after 1 year, and they are being crucified for it. You got to give them time. You got to let them develop. You got to give them a chance. But yet we're yelling for the same thing to happen to AP. How does this make any sense? Again, I've said it before. We are in desperate need of talent on the field. Now, of course, we've got some bright spots. We've got our tight end. We got Max Crosby. Really didn't get to see what Christian Wilkins can do along with him. Nate Hobbs, if you look at our defense, it's just injury after injury, and our offense the exact same way. Our running back gets knocked out. We get a backup. He's running. And now he's out for the season for the last 3 games. You got Jacoby Myers hit 1,000 yards for the season. You got Abdullah hit 1,000 yards for 100-yard rushing game. I apologize, for the first time. Both up. Now he can't play for the next game too. It's just like, goodness gracious, what's going on here? So as I said before, this is just me. I would roll it back with what we have. AOC, build an offensive line, give him another receiver on the opposite side of Jacoby Myers. Maybe that kid that's in Cincinnati, they can't afford to pay both of them. So, hey, let's see if we can get a play for him, get a healthy defense, and go with the Nor boys, the two-headed monster. I thought we did very well when they took over the offense. Now, there's some talk that Patrick Graham was extended or given a contract extension. He said no. What does that mean? Maybe it wasn't good enough. Maybe he wanted more money, or maybe he just wants out of Vegas. But, if it is that he wants out, well, I think I might want to be trying to grab maybe the linebacker coach or even the defensive line coach of the Vikings or Detroit, because good Lord, Detroit, they've got injuries like beyond us, and they're still whooping ass. All right, so there's a lot to be said. Season's over. Hope AB gets another year. Hope you guys all had a safe New Year. Cheesehead Raider, I am out.
Well, Cheesehead, we did lose. It sucked. But hold on, though, Raider Nation, because Cheesehead will be back. He has another take. So we're going to hold that thought, and we'll get right back to him after these messages. And our next caller is Big Pat, Mad Pat Big, Big Pat Mac. Let's see what Raider Patrick has to say, and he's going to explain his logic.
Well, I guess I'm glad I waited a little bit longer, even though it's 4 o'clock Central Time. Raider Patrick, man, this has got to be, I don't know, all these people that said how to do, where do we go next? I already had way more questions than answers. Now, significant amount more. Anybody that want to stay and play in this team, I don't give a damn about a new stadium, new facility, or new whatever. It's beyond me at this point now. Whoever they bring back or don't bring back, who really cares? Again, I say this is one of the primary reasons I've never bought a jersey. Never bought nothing to that effect about anybody that played with, for us, past or present, Hall of Famers or whatever. The organization is not going to go anywhere for the next 10 years now. We'll be mired in tranquility. It'll take us 10 years to win 8 games. I'm afraid all this vitriol and all this rudeness and disrespectful and vindictive ass bullshit amongst this bad fan base is going to keep us just the way they are, apparently. I ain't going to say me. I live my life on leave and kill. Coming up on the next show after the season over, I'll explain why I say have a safe, productive day, whatever the fuck that means. But nonetheless, just blown away now because there's no sense of direction. It was a look like a piece of sense of direction, sense of purpose. They canned it. So now, what's next? Who the fuck knows? All these armchair general managers, draft personified, whatever they want to know, won't have a clue. Nonetheless, thanks for another decent season, another season of Raider football. 7 more months now to anticipate what? Who the fuck knows? I won't even be dialed in then. The only thing I know for certain that remains true on this end, as it always will be, is Raiders!
Well, thanks for explaining your famous slogan, sir. And thanks for being direct. And at the end of the day, you did the right thing, sticking to your logic and what you believe in. Everybody is entitled to their opinions, and trust me, opinion varies, man. Opinion varies, and hopefully we can get it together and come out better. It's definitely unfortunate to see Brother AP go, but you know how that is, man. Maybe they got something else better. And thanks for shouting it out loud and proud there, my brother. Peace out. And coming back as promised, as we said, Cheesehead Raider representing out of Wisconsin. And now let's hear what old Cheesehead Raider has to say.
Raider Nation, this is a Cheesehead Raider calling from Wisconsin on a Tuesday afternoon. Breaking news, I'm sure by the time this is played, everybody's going to know it already. Antonio Pierce fired after 1 full season as a head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the many reasons why we are a dysfunctional losing team, because we continuously fire coaches, make bad picks. We just cannot seem to get out of our own way. Mo Davis brings in Josh McDougals because he doesn't know jack squat about football. He brings in Tom Brady because he doesn't know jack squat about football. He knows a lot about basketball, but he don't know jack squat about football. I've said this before in a previous podcast, I don't know how long ago. If you look when Al was alive, how many times Mo Davis was in the box with his dad? That's right, never, because Mo Davis is a clown. Mo, sell your shares and get somebody who knows what they're doing. Cheesehead Raider, out.
Well, one and done, sir. Coach AP is one and done. Dysfunctional is an understatement. And our owner doesn't have a clue. I lost some major points for, as you would say, Mr. Mo Davis. You sit there and let a guy that you know that you're going to ask get on a microphone on the podium and, talk as everything is okay. And then to fire him later. That's just unbelievable. It's disastrous. And nothing says that I'm over my head and I don't know what the hell is going on than Mark Davis. He's leaning on Tom Brady, whom also has no experience, but just riding off his accolades of being a tycoon champion NFL player. Nothing more, nothing less. And yet he has not learned that the Patriot way is not the Raider way. It's a joke. But ain't nothing we can do about it. We just have to stand still and sit back and watch and see what happens. We number 6 at the draft. Hopefully we can capitalize and see who they're going to bring in as the next coach, because we need a whole bunch of everything. And thanks again for the call there, Cheesehead Raider. Appreciate that. And next up is our lovable Tracy, whom has been holding it down all season long. Hey there.
Hey, Prez, Raider Randy, Raider Greg, Raider Nation. What's going on? This is Tracy calling from New Jersey. And it's a few hours after getting the news about Coach Antonio Pierce getting fired, and I don't know. I thought he would have been given one more year, but I guess there was just too many things that he wasn't doing enough of to keep the job. Some things I've been hearing, like clock management, knowing when to use timeouts, that kind of thing. So here we go again, back to Groundhog Day. I just hope going forward we can get some stability. It's like the 4th or 5th coach in as many years. I've kind of lost count. Jack Del Rio, John Gruden 2 times, the guy who shall remain nameless.
We'll look at it and see what we did. You know what I mean? So felt like we had a couple opportunities, but obviously didn't capitalize on them. It's not good enough. You know what I mean? I know that. And so we got to coach better in those situations. We got to avoid feeling like the situation is okay. And the other team plays as hard as they possibly can too. And like I said, we have to do it. This doesn't matter what I stand up here and talk about or what somebody else talks about. It's about actions. And we played zone, we played man, and that's not enough to win in this league. So thank you.
So now here we are. We need a head coach, probably an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, because I guess Patrick Graham is not coming back, even though I like what he did with the defense last year. And we absolutely need a QB. So we'll see if Tom Terrific can work some magic like he did getting Brock Bowers. Tom Terrific meaning Tom Telesco. Who knows if the other Tom Brady, is going to have any input in this coaching search. I've been hearing some rumblings and rumors about head coach candidates like Bruce Arians, Pete Carroll, Mike Vrabel. I don't know. Who knows? I absolutely look forward to hearing what the other callers to the Boneline have to say. Like I said before, it's just another day, Groundhog Day for Raider Nation, and I think we deserve better. So we'll see what coach is up to the task, because it's a lot. And also my condolences to the family of Morris Bradshaw. All right, Raider Nation, everyone take care, and peace out. This is Tracy from New Jersey.
Yes, unfortunately, he got fired. And now that I think about it, just like what you said, time management and, a whole bunch of other stuff, he was over his head. I've said it before. I think AP pretty much just fell in at the right time during a crucial time where we had to put somebody in that coaching staff quick, fast, in a hurry. And he was the overnight sensation. The honeymoon was over. So when there were some games that we could have won, and we was like, well, what the hell was he doing? What was he thinking? And it just makes you wonder. We going to have to start all over again, see who we bring in, and just Oh man, just kick the tires again. How long can we keep doing that though? That remains to be the fact. And hopefully we find a competent coach because there aren't too many out there. I know you named a couple old schools, Pete Carroll and a few others though, but man, it's really hard to say. And with the track record that we have, lots of people would like to stay the hell away from the Raiders because it's a joke, and I don't blame them. And we'll see what happens. And we'll be back. I'll be back from time to time, so you won't have to wait the whole entire summer like I promised, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you for calling. Well, it is Raider Jeff, and I'm about to board out and hook up with Raider Jeff finally. But before I do that, let's hear what Raider Jeff has to say.
What up, what up, what up? One more time for the Raider Nation here. This is Raider Jeff, or Jeff the Raider, whatever you like. Hey, the big news, yes, we all just heard that AP has been fired, and that's going to be the big topic of the day, I think. And my personal opinion is I think we should have kept him. I think he didn't have anything to work with. He was lied to continuously in the beginning, and I mean, it was almost like they set him up, but it was pretty bad. I think he deserves another chance, but I guess that means Tom Telesco is going to stay. So, and, Max Crosby had some grumblings, near the end of the season too about leadership, so it was over as soon as he said that. But, we got to fix the quarterback problem next year. And, we got the 6th pick, so, we should be able to get a decent draft pick. May not be a quarterback, but we should be able to get somebody, an impact player, if we choose the right guy. And, I just think that there's so many question marks right now. We don't know who the coach is going to be. I definitely don't want Vrabel because he's going to try to bring in McDaniels as his offensive coordinator. Lord knows we don't want that. I know I'm probably near the end of my limit. I had a lot more I could say about this, but I just wanted to say for the last time to the Boneline that everybody have a great New Year. Hope you enjoy the rest of the playoffs and the Super Bowl, and good luck to everyone. I am out.
I agree. You should have definitely stayed. Had one more year, but they have other plans. I'm just looking for the next move myself. See what we're going to do, see who we're going to bring in, and see what we're going to do in the draft. And we appreciate the takes and the calls, man. I know that this is your first season calling, and, you held it on in there along with Big Pat Mac and all the others. And, hey, man, that's what's up, man. And finally, get a chance to come out there and hang out and check out the Raider room and check out Shula's and whatever else we got planned and talk Raiders and stuff. So, like I said, I agree with everything you said. Take care. And next up is Nebraska Raider. Hey, man, you're really going to dig this take right here. And he's about to tell you why. And I like it.
The Prez, Raider Greg, Raider Randy, Raider Nation. This is Nebraska Raider calling in for the season finale, which didn't end up how I would have liked it to. I would have liked to go out with a big bang, especially out there against our division rival and in front of our fans. But with that being said, we all watched the game. We all know what it was. It was a crappy year. But I would like to give a shout out to, of course, Brock Bowers, over 1,000 yards, broke multiple records, and Jacoby Myers, over 1,000 yards. I think he's proven himself to get another contract. With that being said, we have 28, I believe 28 players that are going to be UFAs or, free agents or restricted free agents. So we got to figure that out. So it's going to be interesting. And so enough about the game. I already know how that went. But I would like to give a shout out to the Boneline callers that I've heard over this season in the 2024 season. Raider Sid, the Desert Raider. Raider Tony in Susanville, California. The OG, he's not just an OG, he's a triple OG. Cheesehead Raider. And ho, 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 Raider Claus. Raider Claus, desperately bringing the nation some more wins in 2025, my man. Raider Jeff in D.C. Wish we had D.C. at QB, if you know what I mean. And Raul Oliveros. God bless, brother. Food Stamp Raider, how else you gonna get fed? Matty Raider in Albany, New York. And the one and only that's been pretty much holding it up this whole season for the Raiderettes. Raiderette Tracy from Jersey, holding it down for all the Raiderettes in 2024. And Big Pat Mac, Matt Pag Big, Big Patrick McDonald. The Prez, we love it when you do that, man. And I love all the Boneline takes this season, and wish you all a prosperous new year and a healthy new year. And just thank you, Raider Greg, Raider Randy, the Prez, who took over the reins for Raider Greg. Raider Greg needed to take a break, so the Prez stepped up, man. Big shout out to as far as the players go, O'Connell. I think he stepped up when he was healthy, and can't forget about Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers going over 1,000 with pretty poor quarterback play for most of the season. So, God bless Raider Nation. This is Nebraska Raider. Just look forward to the off season. We got plenty of money to spend, so let's do it. Just win, baby. This is Nebraska Raider, and I am out.
Well, thanks for the shout out, my brother. That was very cool and groovy. Got it down to the T. I love it. Yes, man. The nice season with our Raider Nation podcast loyals and their takes. And Big Pat, Mad Pat B. Yeah, man, you got that down. That's pretty cool, the Nebraska Raider, man. And thanks, man. I enjoyed holding it down. I know it wasn't easy at first, but I found myself. And, there were a couple of times I almost lost my composure, getting frustrated, though. But I had to get back on the square and get back in the game. Was I nervous at first? Absolutely. It's not easy, getting behind the engine and flying a plane that you never flew before. But hey, I landed it, and I'm confident now. I feel confident, and I'm still learning. There's a few things I'm going to work with. I have to work with. And speaking of which, Raider Nation, I'd like for y'all to hear me on this right here. Once again, we're coming up with some ideas, and if you go on the YouTube podcast, you'll start seeing some of the bone lines on there. Raider Randy is going to try a few new things with the YouTube. So you'll get a chance to hear the bone line, and we'll figure some other stuff out. But we need to expand a few things, and hopefully, like I said earlier, and I mentioned, when we play the Tennessee Titans, I would like to, be like at a small venue, perhaps on a Friday, because I know everybody's going to party at the Eye Candy, or maybe the Sunday, who knows, because nobody has anything to do that Sunday, but preferably Friday, small scale. Hey, come meet and greet with the Raider Nation podcast, and maybe we can get one with Raider Greg and Crusader Raiders in town, but definitely for the Titans game, and there's a reason behind that. So we should see. I know that's way ahead of the game. We just gotta get through the season first and see what happens and what shakes. But nonetheless, thank you for calling, my man, and have a good one. And the next caller is Matty Raider. Let's hear what he got to say.
Hey, what up, Prez? Raider Randy, Raider Greg. It's Matty Raider, Albany, New York, calling in after the end of the regular season. So we got whooped by the Chargers. You know, if we're trying to win games, I kind of would have wanted to win that one because I just can't stand them. So now we pick 6 because the Jets won, which is great. So I think there'll be a good player there at 6. I don't know about these quarterbacks this year, man. I really don't know. Seems like the hype for Sanders and Ward were a little bit higher earlier in the season, and I'm not sold on these guys. So I'm definitely in the camp with best player available. There's some really nice kids out there that could really make an impact for our team. I don't know. I would love to get that kid from Boise State. Kid's freaking legs look like tree trunks, man. He would take the pressure off any QB we had. And I think he would just run wild and but whatever. There's a lot of good players, so we'll see how that goes. But, you know, they just let AP go yesterday, and I don't know how I feel about it. You know, I'm tired of the instability, I guess. You know, I always feel like the coordinators make the coach too. You know, if he wants to be a rah-rah guy, if you got good coordinators, you can do it. I always thought Tomlin was a rah-rah guy until I heard the guy break down our team earlier this year. I mean, and I forget, he was a defensive guru on Gruden's staff, but the guy knows his football, so I don't know. But I'm just tired of the constant coaching change. Glad we're keeping our general manager, let him pick something, you know. Let's get a stable coaches in here. I don't know if we're going to keep Graham for defensive coordinator. I know them guys are probably getting tired of different defensive schemes if another one changes now because they're used to Graham. So I don't know, man. Lots of moving parts, but we ride or die, right? So, you know, just giving a shout out to all the callers. Thanks for the shout out, Raider Tracy. Hopefully, maybe someday I'll jump in a car and I'll head down to Jersey and meet you and the crew down there, and we'll have a good time. Who knows? So, anyway, hopefully it won't be some long off-season, Prez, so we don't hear from you guys. And hope you guys take care. It's freezing up here in the north, man. Okay. Much love to all you guys, and talk to you soon. All right.
Well, I would love to take that guy from Boise, Idaho myself, man. He does have some big tree trunk legs, and that dude's a beast. And we might just get him. And at the end of the day, running backs is not getting drafted high these days. I don't think nobody needs a running back. We can use one because Abdullah has been around forever, and McCormick is pretty good. I can see them probably bringing him back. But when you got a stud like that, an impact player, it would be a no-brainer. But that's just something that we have to do. And, man, I'm so sick of the crisis we're going through, man. We just need some stability. Definitely need some stability. And we'll be back, man. We'll be back from time to time. We're not gone. We're not going to go a whole months without a podcast. Something big develops, you might get a mini. And when I say a mini, it was obviously not going to be an hour long. And some of you guys have calls. If, you know, we'll try to answer. It might be a little late, but we'll get to it. And, you know, when we do the combine or, of course, the draft, like I say, I'll pop up from time to time, you know, and, you know, kind of keep those those thirst quenched. But we don't want to overdo it. And I need a break, man. You know, everybody needs a break. And let's see what happens. So thanks for calling there, Matty Raider. Appreciate it.
Okay, a little disclaimer. In regards of this Boneline for the late recordings, some may be a little fuzzy or whatever though. So a little technical difficulties though, but we can get it going and you should be able to hear it though. But in regards, if you're wondering like, why does it sound like that? Well, now you know. So just a little disclaimer and thank you so much. And our next caller, representing out of North Carolina, I believe it is Ruben Raider. He said his name so fast, I think it is, and if not, I apologize. Let's take it away and hear what he has to say.
What's up, Raider Nation? This is Ruben from North Carolina calling in on this, I don't know what you call it, Wednesday afternoon, day after AP is fired. My take is, I know a lot of people in the Raider Nation weren't happy with AP getting hired, and are pretty happy with him being gone. I, for one, was happy that he got hired. He seemed to be very excited to get the job. Was he qualified? No. But you know what? There's other coaches who have been hired that weren't qualified. So I don't know. I guess I had the feeling that this was a total setup. He was set up for failure. Dennis Allen got 2.5 seasons with lesser talent until 2014 when he got fired and they drafted Derek Carr and Khalil Mack. And, you know, there was already some better pieces that were being put in place by the time Dennis Allen got fired, but he was given 2.5 seasons. You know, he had a full season with Terrell Pryor as quarterback, 1 season with Carson Palmer as a quarterback. So, you know, what did the AP have to deal with? He had to deal with Gardner Minshew and a shaky offensive line and an incompetent offensive coordinator. I don't think those choices were his to begin with when it came to the staff. Other choices on the staff were questionable, like Marvin Lewis. I thought that was going to be a good addition in helping him with the process of learning how to be a head coach. But obviously it didn't pan out like, you know, most of us who supported AP turned out. I just think that Mark Davis just needs to go ahead and sell the team. I'm over him. He doesn't know how to select coaches. He doesn't know how to select GMs. He has no clue what to do with his football team. The people that he's got giving him advice, I don't believe have, you know, the right intentions in place. I just think they're just there for an easy paycheck. Yeah, and this whole thing with Tom Brady, you know, having his say and all the rumors now that I'm reading that Bill Belichick might be a possibility after him becoming the head coach for UNC Tar Heels, and there's like a $10 million buyout. I don't see that happening. If Bill Belichick was going to be a head coach, he would have been one last season. As far as the next head coach, I really hope it's not Deion Sanders. I don't need that kind of circus. If you thought AP was bad of overhyping and talking a lot and not performing, I don't need another season of that with Deion Sanders at the helm. I hope it's not another Patriot off, a former player, Mike Vrabel. I know a lot of people think he's, you know, the leading candidate, but, you know, Tennessee fired him for a reason. And I don't know. I just don't see us moving into the new year and a new way the NFL is going as long as Mark Davis is there. The guy's an idiot. I don't trust him. I don't trust him with players. I don't trust him with personnel. I don't trust him with anybody. You know, I want him gone. I'm tired of the curly bowl cut. He needs to go. He's the problem. I hope everybody has a good day and they're staying warm on the East Coast. And everybody out on the West Coast in California with the fires, stay safe and have a good one. Bye.
Well, sir, I agree with you. It's very unfortunate. I think that perhaps AP was in one of those situations where winning was definitely quick, fast, and hurry, and he had to get it done immediately. So it's very unfortunate, man. Yes, Dennis Allen was given great time to work with, and here comes somebody that's passionate that really gave it a try, but it didn't work out, and he bottomed out, and he got fired, man. Was it fair? No. But what do I know? And maybe they have a better plan ahead. We shall see. Well, thanks for calling there, man, and happy holidays, and keep your ears on listening for the Raider Nation podcast because we got more coming. And our next caller is the Desert Raider. And let's hear what Desert Raider has to say.
What up, Raider Randy? The Prez, Raider Greg. This is the Desert Raider, Raider Sid. Hey, AP's gone. Okay. Can't say that I didn't see that coming, but 1 year? Come on. Telesco's gone. Now that was a surprise because now we really have to start from scratch again. Okay. 1 year, really? We're never going to know what Telesco's plans were going to be. Okay, ever. And we're still paying all these guys. You know what this team needs is stability. And we just cannot have it if we can't keep having this carousel of coaches and general managers. It's just not going to happen. You know, we did have a little bit of stability for a little bit when Gruden was here, Gruden and Carr together, because they improved every year and they were headed in the right direction. The problem with that was they gave Gruden too much power. He's a great coach. He sucks ass as a general manager. He couldn't draft himself out of a wet bag, a wet paper bag. So that was the problem there. And then Gruden got into his little problems that he had, and that was a complete scam against the Raiders again. Brady is the enemy to me, but Brady, help us out. Do something. I'm grasping at straws right now. We're going to suck next year again. We don't have an offensive coordinator. We got cheap with Kingsbury. If we would have offered him 3 years instead of 2, he would have been our offensive coordinator this year. I think things would have been a little bit different. So here we go again. The fucking carousel just fucking continues. The Raiders are a dumpster fire, but I'm going to stick with them. Go Raiders. Let's go. I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. Mark Davis, do something. Hate to say it, but maybe let Brady take over. I hate that motherfucker. To this day, Tuck Rule, son of a bitch. All right, Raider Nation. This is Raider Sid, the Desert Raider. I am out.
Desert Raider. Yeah, AP is gone. So sad to see him leave the building. A man who gave it his all. He had passion. He tried. But it just was not meant for him to be in the future, that whatever reasons they have to move forward. And I will also say this too, once again, I hope that whomever we bring in, whomever we choose, that there is some stability. We definitely need some stability, and enough with this in and out, 1-2, 1-2, 1-1-1, whatever crap we got going with coaches. And as far as Gruden, yeah, I think maybe they probably should have stopped at letting him be coach and then checking baby steps. But at the time, Mark Davis was goo goo gaga, and we all were. I know I was. I can't lie to you. I was a huge Gruden fan when he left. Oh, I was so upset at Al Davis, man. I was like, how could you do this, man? But there was clashing going on, and that's a whole nother history. That's something that you have to read for yourself. The battle of Al Davis and John Gruden. It's a must read. It's on the internet somewhere, and interesting. But when he came back, man, I think Gruden had too much on his plate, and there were signs. I mean, look who he passed up. And the first pick we got, Cleveland Farrell, over the guy that played for Tampa Bay. I can't think of his name right now, but he was a beast, and he wanted to be a Raider. So we were starting to cook. Then came Ruggs. Then came the infamous, damn disastrous email scandal, and the rest was history. So now we have Tom Brady in the building, and we got some new hires, and it was brought to my attention that we got a whole bunch of free agents. So we'll see how it goes and how it holds up, man. So hopefully it'll be a better season, man. And thank you for coming on the show. And stay tuned. As I said to all the callers, we'll definitely be back. We'll have more content. Might not be as much, but we'll have more content. Thank you.
And our next caller is me. Who am I? This is Randy. Larry's out of town, and I'm just going to throw a little thing in here before we go to our last caller. There was some news that came out this morning concerning the interview that Tom Brady, Mark Davis, and Richard Seymour did with Ben Johnson. They interviewed him on Friday, and apparently the interview went really well. I won't say too much about it. I'm just going to play a clip from Hondo Carpenter from his Raiders Insider podcast. It's a little on the long side. I cut out as much of it as I could, but it's still 17 minutes long. But let's play that now, and then I'm going to make a few comments at the end.
This is a significant update on the Las Vegas Raiders search for a general manager and a coach. Let's go back and go back a little bit so we can go forward. In September, when the Raiders began to lose, I was asked who I thought would be the coach if Antonio Pierce was not retained, and that was Mike Vrabel. That was the name that we consistently heard throughout the process. However, the Patriots acted extremely proactively by terminating Gerard Mayo as soon as the season literally ended, moved quickly. And I've been telling you since Antonio Pierce was fired, the conventional wisdom around the NFL was that they were not going to get Vrabel, and they're not going to get Vrabel. That's not the significant update. I've been telling you that it didn't think that they would get him, and they're not going to. But there's a significant update. We're going to talk about several people. But first, I want to get into the process a little bit. I want to, as you know, I am not a fan. I'm not a hater either. I certainly want the organization to do well. I know the people in it. I have tremendous respect for them. But I'm going to share a story about a gentleman who has interviewed with the Raiders since Mark Davis took over. I'm not going to say within which cycle, I'm not trying to hurt him or get him in cause him any difficulty, but I have his permission to share this story. He once told me that when he went in to interview, like anyone else, you're excited to interview for a head coaching job in the NFL. And it's the Raiders, so you're super excited. But he said as he went through the interview, the longer it went, the more he did not feel like this is an organization that I want to be a part of. This is not an organization that he felt like had the tools, the winning tools, for whatever reason. And I'll never forget him saying to me, when I walked out of the interview, I knew if they offered the job, I had to take it. That wouldn't have been fair to my agent or my family. He said, but I literally remember praying, asking God, please don't let me get offered this job. Now, I'm not saying that to throw shade at the organization. And if you're older like me, that's a term I've recently learned. It means really showing disrespect. I don't mean it there, but as I go through this update with you, I want that to be the starting point so you can really see how things have changed with the Raiders. Now, in talking to people that are very familiar with the process, Tom Brady, which we have been telling you, is firmly in control. However, for people that think he's running over Mark Davis or Richard Seymour, that is not in any way an accurate representation of this. Mark Davis is very active, involved, and him and Brady and Richard are working together, but it is not Tom out there running over everybody. Certainly, Tom Brady is arguably the greatest football player of all time, certainly quarterback. And so his voice is loud, and it should be. Let's make sure that's clear. I hear some people reporting it almost like it's a slam on Tom Brady. No, he should have that voice, and he does. But I have been told by people directly involved that it's very unique to watch how the three of them are working together, the order of how everything is flowing, and how it's happening. And I'm getting somewhere with this now because I think it's very fascinating. Mark Davis is extremely involved, and so is Richard Seymour, but they know exactly what they're looking for. So the significant update, the first one, comes with Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Now let's talk about this for a minute. Coming into this cycle, the most sought after coach with experience was Mike Vrabel. The most sought after assistant is without a doubt Ben Johnson. So that's unequivocal, and that there is no moving off of that. That is the reality. Ben Johnson spoke with the Raiders yesterday, and according to people who have spoken to those who were part of the process, it came away with the Raiders. Now, I also know Ian Rappaport has reported that the Raiders are enamored with Ben Johnson. I don't know who he spoke to, but I can tell you that same word was used with me. But I was also told it was enamoring for Ben Johnson, that him and Tom Brady have really hit it off in a big way. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of information that I've been able to get. Not giving it all, but I'm going to give you a little bit. Is that I was told by an NFL executive who is very knowledgeable of the process, that if they had to, the same one who told me they did not think the Raiders were going to get Vrabel, they believe Ben Johnson now is the guy to beat. That is, they would be surprised if anyone other than Ben. They think that Ben will clearly emerge as the lead candidate. That Tom Brady was extremely impressed with him, and that he was extremely impressed with Tom Brady. Now, let me give you a little background about this. Johnson has had multiple opportunities to get some jobs, and for whatever reason has chosen not to leave Detroit. He is looking specifically for the right spot. Now, there are a lot of talk about the cost of Ben Johnson. I have seen people saying it would probably take 6 years, $60 million fully guaranteed. And I've had people quietly tell me that for Ben Johnson to get, for someone to get Ben Johnson, it may be 6 years at $90 million, $15 million a year guaranteed. I talked with someone directly inside the Raiders organization, and I said to them, if Ben Johnson is the guy, there's been a lot of numbers thrown out there. Do you think he would be too expensive for the Raiders? The exact answer I was given was, quote, if Ben Johnson isn't the coach of the Raiders, the reason will have nothing to do with money, unquote. So there you go. The Raiders are willing to spend whatever they have to spend to go get their guy. So if you're concerned about the Raiders going cheap or whatever you may, whatever concern you may have, that will be of no concern with the Raiders. I am not implying that Ben is going to get it. I'm simply telling you he is the lead guy, and that money will be no objective for whomever the Raiders get. I was told that the interview was exceptional. That was the term I used. And a source close to the process told me that, again, it was incredibly appealing that he was allowed, Ben Johnson understood exactly the involvement of Brady, where that stands, and the organization he was going to he would be considering. Now, there are other teams interested in Ben Johnson. So, for example, there are the Bears with Caleb Williams. There are the Jacksonville Jaguars who have Trevor Lawrence. And so you may be sitting here today saying, okay, well, what about the Raiders? Well, I believe that the quarterback situation, based on who people I've talked to, was fully discussed, and that there would be an understanding that there would have to be, whomever it is, that there would have to be development of quarterback and the patience necessary for that process to play itself out. So again, I 100% believe, according to the sources I'm speaking to, and they're the ones that told me that Vrabel was going to the Pats and others, that Ben Johnson has emerged as the lead candidate. It does not mean there will not be other interviews, but I want to take you back to when this whole started. I shared with you about how the Raiders were going to cast a wide net. One of the things I've shared with you is that in the NFL, there is a term called being Tomlined. And what that term means is the Pittsburgh Steelers had already decided who they were going to go get to be their head coach. But they threw a wide net and talked with an up and coming coach by the name of Mike Tomlin. And they went into the meeting, and Tomlin blew them away. Okay. Going into this process, I do not believe, and that's from talking to people, so it's not just a Hondo guess, that Ben Johnson was the top of the Raiders' thought process. But this is where I've told you the organization now is doing things in a very smart way. The fact that they talked with Ben Johnson and were Tomlined by him and really were impressed with the way he saw the game, the way he was able to talk about the Raiders organization, and just the way that he presented himself and the way he would lead a football program to a franchise, excuse me, but to understand how someone would run a program and to understand how they would run a franchise and to have that symmetry with Tom Brady. One of the things that I was told that was very impressive was obviously Tom Brady's ability to break down everything, and that it was the same with Ben, that the two of them think about football on the same wavelength and are on the same page. I think that is a big deal. I was told that they believe if Pete Carroll were hired, that it would probably be because a couple of other options didn't come through. Let's talk really quickly about Deion Sanders. There have been some reports that he's very interested in the Raiders. Okay. No one wanted to come out and say to me, Deion or his people have expressed interest to us, but nobody denied it either. So this is purely opinion. I totally believe those reports. But I think people want to be able to create some separation. I, at this point, don't get the feeling that Deion right now would be a leader in the clubhouse. Certainly, anything could change. But I think there would be some other names who I've mentioned for you that would probably be ahead of Deion in this process. I want to talk to you about a general manager name, and there are a couple, but I'm only going to talk about one. John Spytek, who is the AGM with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I, as you know, formerly covered the Detroit Lions. Spytek was there, and at the time was known as the Whiz Kid. He was an intern. He was known as a young man that, even though he was an intern, if they gave him a job and they told him go do two things, he did four. It was, everybody knew this guy is on his way. He's going to be the guy somewhere someday. In fact, I was joking with someone from back in Detroit who obviously worked with John. Today after church, Shannon and I were talking to him on the phone, and we were laughing, just recollecting what he was like. He is extremely thorough. very personable, extremely personable, but not gregarious. Just a very good, solid, salt of the earth guy, an extremely hard worker. Now, he's worked with Holmgren, he's worked with Andy Reid, he's been with Tampa Bay. He was critical in getting Tom Brady to the Buccaneers. He was critical in the development of their personnel, keeping that team competitive, keeping guys around. Now he's the AGM. Him and Brady are very close. And one of the things that impressed Brady with Spytech was that when he talked ball with him, they were on the same page. They thought the same. They looked at things the same. Spytech is extremely analytical. So is Brady. The gentleman that I was talking with today from back when I covered Detroit and he was with Detroit talked about even as an intern, he saw things people didn't see. And so this is a name that around the NFL, a lot of people believe is probably the leading candidate to be the next general manager of the Raiders. And I can tell you, although it's been 20 years, just based on what I knew of him then and his maturation throughout the process now, this would be a tremendous addition for the Raiders. Because even though Tom Brady is not moving here and running the day-to-day operations of the team, clearly his voice is enormous. And so he has to have somebody in that general manager's chair that knows exactly what he thinks, the vision, the direction, and it has to be able to work with the coach. And the fact that the three of them, in fact, I will just tell you this. I texted an NFL source, and this is what I asked the person, what are you hearing? He said, Ben Johnson, Spytech, that's a dream team in Vegas. So that's kind of where we sit right now. The Raiders are going to do a lot of interviews. This is not done, but money will not be the reason if it doesn't happen. And clearly, they're being smart. They're going to go out, they're going to interview other people. What if somebody else impresses them as much as Ben Johnson? But I can tell you around the league right now, that is the sentiment that they think that if Brady and the Raiders decide that's their guy, they'll get him. Now he's got other interviews too. So other people could and go after Ben Johnson as well. But I just think it's right now, it's very keen to keep your eye on Spytech and for general manager and to keep your eye very clearly on Ben Johnson. That I was told by someone they expect the conversations to continue, meaning with Brady and Johnson, and watch how this whole process plays itself out. They are looking for someone who understands that this is going to be a build. Doesn't mean a rebuild, but they're going to be building something. Brady wants zero shortcuts. Mark Davis wants zero shortcuts. Richard Seymour wants zero shortcuts. They have established as the brain trust of the Raiders that they have to get out of this funk of getting rid of coaches all the time, changing systems all the time. They have come to a cumulative decision. They've got to set a course, stay the course. That should be tremendous news to you, Raider Nation. And they're looking for people that understand. And they're expressing to people, while this has not been the way things have been run up heretofore, that is how they're going to be run now. One direction, going forward, building something, sustaining something. They don't want the cyclical roller coasters. They want consistency. They want focus. They're talking to guys in detail. I do expect there obviously to be more interviews, which I've already told you, but including with Ben, there are going to be a lot of talking to people about what would your staff look like. And at this point today, Sunday afternoon, I think you're looking at Ben Johnson as the leader. And I think that you're looking at John Spytek certainly is somebody that around the NFL is getting a lot of attention. Anything can change, anything can happen in these processes, and it's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be fascinating to watch. And other teams can fall for Ben, or Ben can fall for other teams. But right now, I think if you're a Raider, you have got to be thrilled with this process. You've got to be with how thorough the Raiders are being. I am going to tell you, and I've said it before, I've said this a lot, I do expect there to be holistic changes within the Raiders. I expect that they're going to put every part under ownership under the microscope. I expect strength and conditioning to get a long look. I expect it all to get a long look. Every part of this franchise is going to get a long look, and to get it determined is, does this right here get us to the next level of where we want to go? And obviously, when I say us or we, I'm referring to their voice, not mine. I'm not an employee of the organization. So that's the latest that we know. Again, the Ben Johnson interview was tremendous. Ian Rappaport used the term enamored first, but that is the term that I heard as well. I was told it was incredible respect and a little bit of even some surprise. I think both parties were a little like, wow, all right. But I think the Raiders want to have a general manager, a coach, and Brady, a triangle where everybody is on the same page. Everybody who thinks alike, everybody. And it's not, when I say thinks alike, it's not like they're looking for everyone to be yes men to Tom Brady. That's not what Tom wants. But people that have a general understanding of what they want so they can disagree and bring points. And the way that you have a very collective like that is it has to be incredible, mutual respect oriented. So there you go. That's the latest from what we know. That's a significant update. And I appreciate all of you taking the time and sharing a little bit of your Sunday with us. Thank you so much from all of us here at the Las Vegas Raiders on Sports Illustrated to you. Appreciate you joining us. God bless you all.
And here's a few things I read about Ben Johnson. He was a quarterback in high school. He was a walk-on at University of North Carolina. Joined the Lions in 2019, was elevated to offensive coordinator in 2022. So he's had 3 seasons as offensive coordinator, and all 3 seasons the Lions have been a top 5 scoring offense. Last year, Detroit scored an average of 33 points per game in 2024. His players and assistants speak highly of him, describing him as a, quote, genius in terms of both designing and finding the right play to call.
ESPN's Adam Schefter reported this week he expects both Lions coordinators to land head coaching jobs in this cycle. Ben Johnson talked about his interview processes over the weekend, having gone through a handful.
This go around, I've been a lot more prepared for the types of questions that they've been asking. I've also changed my frame of mind a little bit, and instead of worrying solely about the offense and what we're doing right here, I've been able to have off seasons and summers to think about big picture view, what a program would look like where I'm running it. And so I think that way I'm a lot more prepared for the questions that come my way and much more comfortable answering them. I told the head coach when we came in, he asked me about how it went this weekend. It went great, and that's the end of it. The focus right here now for the players, for the coaching staff, for everybody in this building is about this game this week.
Coach Dan Campbell said he selfishly doesn't want to see Johnson or defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn leave, but he will encourage them to pursue any opportunity offered them. Campbell says their work speaks for itself. Both of these guys, they are smart, they are grinders, they are strategic, they understand how to teach, communicate, and motivate. Their work speaks for itself. Both of these guys are more than worthy of being head coaches. So I just hope we don't get our hopes up and then someone else signs Ben Johnson as their coach. I'd much rather have a younger up-and-comer like Ben Johnson than Pete Carroll or somebody like that, 73 years old. Imagine if we could have a successful head coach for 20 years or even 10 years. Well, let's go move on to our final Boneline caller. See what his opinion is. Who could it possibly be?
Shut your pie hole, Randy.
And we say the best for the last. I wasn't going to say it because I didn't want to ruin the surprise. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest surprise caller. And can you take a wild guess who that is?
I love it.
Well, it's Raider Greg to close out the season. And like you said, it is time. Let's hear what Raider Greg has to say. And he has a lot to say.
Well, Raider Nation, you had to expect that I was going to pop in because it's time. It was far time, or past time, that Antonio Pierce was shown the door. He tried his best, but he was way over his head. We all saw it happening. That's on the outside. That was the coaching aspect of the team. I mean, he got the team to play. He sure did. They played really hard for him. But that's just one aspect of coaching, folks. The other aspect is organization, game management, also relationships with your defensive coordinator and also your offensive coordinator, and the big one, your general manager. This is where the entire thing went south. And I'll tell you, I'm not surprised. Great teams, look at them. General manager, coach, ownership, all on the same page, all working together to get the job done. This is not happening with the Raiders. You could see it. Telesco never came out. You know, this is what happens when the general manager didn't pick the coach, really, because he didn't. Mark did. And speaking of Mark, I say it now, I've said it before, and I'll say it forever, until he sells the team, the controlling interest of the team, to someone else, then we'll continue to go through this buffoonery of waiting to the last second. Look, man, they let Pierce do an interview, and then 2 hours later they fired him. He had to answer questions about his future, and he didn't even know about his future because Mark is such a weasel. I couldn't work for Mark. He's very erratic, irresponsible. He's like a child. I feel bad for Pierce. He had to deal with this guy. You know, wishy-washy. Not my idea. And this is also, on another note, why we don't have a great coach. Just think about the last 3 years before we hired McDaniels. There were awesome candidates out there, but he had put his focus on McDaniels, and then he's the one who made that decision. Terrible decision. We all paid for it, and he's still paying for it because he made a bad choice. Didn't listen to anybody around him, or what he did is listen to people who had an interest in this hiring. You know, he's got to let the general manager do his job and look for the new coach. He's got to let this team, you know, Mark puts his crooked little fingers in at the wrong time and he's paying now 4 coaches. 4. He's paying Gruden. He's paying McDaniels. Who else is he paying? He's paying Gruden, McDaniels. He'll pay Pierce. And then he'll pay our new coach, whoever it may be. All at the same time. All because Mark is clueless. And you know what? That's why he needs to sell the controlling interest of the team. So that someone with knowledge and wisdom could take a hold of the Raiders, find this coach, and move forward constructing a successful organization. Mark, all the people he's hired, I just have no faith. I have no faith in the president of operations, all these yahoos he's pulled in. They're great at, the fluff. But as far as the team goes, no, not at all. And this year, I see again that we're fiddle farting around. You can see other organizations, the Patriots have like 6 or 7 interviews scheduled. The other teams that have fired their coaches are already miles ahead of the Raiders. Do you hear anything about the people we're going to bring in? Mike Vrabel, the most sought after coach by all the other teams, has been associated with the Raiders because of Brady. But why would he want to come to this unstable organization? Mark also says, well, we're going to keep Telesco. Like, why is it even a question that you're not going to keep your general manager? Mark is a buffoon, man. He's not a good owner. I've said it for a long time. He's got to get out of the ownership seat. He stinks. And the fans are paying big money for it. And other fan bases are coming to Vegas having a heck of a time. And then it'll continue like that, and he'll continue to make money until he wants to win. And here we are again, last in line at the dance. The chairs are all taken, and then we'll have to settle for a guy who's not quite ready, who's like questionable in other areas, who no one thought would be a head coach like Pierce. No one thought he would be a head coach, and that's where we're going to end up again. That's my take. I hope I'm wrong, but we're going to get a coach, I think they're going to bring back Norv Turner. He's in the building. He's coached before. He's been a Raider. Norv, take the job for a couple years till we find someone who wants to come and get the job.
I just know our guys fought, competed. The biggest thing for us is to find a way to win, and the difference obviously is obvious.
That's what I think. I think Norv Turner is the new coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I from where I am, I didn't get a good look at it. I don't know that you.
How does this loss rank in your career?
I don't rank them. They all hurt, and I just know our guys fought, competed. The biggest thing for us is to find a way to win, and the difference obviously is obvious.
That's what I think. I think Norv Turner is the new coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Good, bad, or indifferent. His son will be the offensive coordinator. Then I'll have to dig up a defensive guy because we lost our offensive coordinator. Not that he was awesome, but he was decent. What a mess. What a mess of $1 billion company. Crazy, huh? But, this is what I see. I'm not trying to gloom and doom it, but man, this is the pattern. This is not me. This is him. Mark Davis. Sell this team, bro. Pierce didn't deserve another chance. I'm just going to end that conversation. He was not prepared. He hired a terrible staff. And the players just played beyond their coaching because they didn't get the coaching they deserved. And Norv is going to have to get out there and beat the bushes and try to find, guys to come in who want to coach our team, which is, that's hard to do because Antonio Pierce's staff, which he picked up, all their families, all their kids, all the things that they got settled in Vegas, they're all out. They're going. their staff, that staff is gone. The new staff will come in. And that's just, that's an unstable organization. You have to have good people that stay, that are vested, that see a future. It's not the Raiders. Not until Mark gives controlling interest to, I don't care who it is. But he's just not a good owner because he is fickle and irresponsible. And, there's many, many signs pointing to that. So, yeah, it was Pierce's time to leave. I mean, they could have kept him for another useless year and worked on trying to make relationships with our next coach. But again, Mark, lets the guy do a press conference, fires him 2 hours later. That is just no class. And it's typical Mark Davis, for sure. And, Mark didn't come out and have a press conference. At least Al had the guts to have a press conference and discuss the reasons why the firing happened. No, Mark just throws out all these stories throughout, all his little minions on why. But Mark won't come out and face the music himself, but he will stand up there and give you a line of mumbo jumbo about our next coach. So let's see who we hire. Hey, man, I hope I am so wrong. But so far, the pattern with Mark Davis has been clear. Wait until everyone else has been hired that's worthy, and then hire a guy, pay him less money, not much less, but less money, for a shorter period of time. I mean, we could have had Cliff Kingsbury come as our OC, but Mark was too cheap to give him a 3-year deal. So he offered him a 2-year deal, and he didn't come because he wanted a 3-year deal. This is the lunacy of Mark Davis. It's ridiculous. He is a day late and $1 short for his entire life. And I guess that's what partying in the 80s will do to your brain. I wish you had better news, but this is the news we got, and let's just wait and see, because we will have to wait until way late. Don't believe the mumbo jumbo about, we know who we want. We knew who we wanted. We've been really working this guy. Nonsense. Mark is floating in the ocean on a pontoon and just wondering who's going to want to come and deal with chaos that is the Las Vegas Raiders. And that is all I have to say about that.
I agree. I definitely agree. Mark Davis, I lost a lot of respect for him. No class, what he did. I agree. No class whatsoever. At least have the balls and the testicular fortitude. Just be beside the man like your dad did and explain yourself. You let that guy get up there, man, and basically made an ass out of himself. It's embarrassing. And I, for the life of me, can't understand what's the fascination with this Patriots stuff, man. I mean, come on. We're going to repeat ourselves over and over again. Tom Brady was once a revered athlete on the field, and I'm going to say that this is just my opinion. So let me be clear about that. Since when did he become a guru of anything other than winning on the field? But I digress. So, yes, he's a minority owner. I get that. But other than basking off his glory of back in the days, and it's like a dude that had a trophy girlfriend. He's just so goo goo gaga and just so happy to have her. He just loses sight of what's going on. And there were other things that you said that was interesting, man. He's not going to sell the team because he feels like he's a big boy. He feels like he has a Ferrari. He can ride that Ferrari and look good in it, and he ain't letting it go. But he does definitely need to relinquish some of that control because he's over his head. I definitely agree with that, man. Couldn't have said it even better. And now another cycle of has been coached within the ranks of being a Raider coach. And there's so much that can be said about that, Raider Greg. You know, your years of wisdom and your years of hosting the podcast. And I like to piggyback on something that you said also, too, that basically goes something like this right here. When we lose track of the Raiders, the stupidity, man, of doing things ass backwards, it's just speak volumes, man. Mark Davis is nothing like Al Davis. You know, I lost a lot of respect for him on their part right there. I'm going to be quite and honest. Not because he fired him, but just how he fired it, man. That wasn't cool at all. But who am I to say? I'm just a new podcaster that's a Raider fan that just got to roll with the punches. But I digress. We can only hope to see what they're going to do next. And a lot of those coaches, man, good luck with a lot of them hoping, with the fans hoping we get somebody that's going to be brilliant. Because this place has stay the hell away from written all over it. There's nothing good about being associated with the Raiders because we're the uncool guys now. We're dysfunctional. We don't have our stuff together. Yada, 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 etc., etc. And thanks for the surprise call there, man, because you definitely laid it on the line. Well, Raider Nation, this is going to conclude 654. And I'd like to thank each and every last one of you. And most importantly, thank Raider Randy and Raider Greg for allowing me, a one-time caller, just like you all, to come on here and host the show. And I had fun. It was very interesting, and I aim to do better and come back again if need be. So as I always say in conclusion, whenever you're starting the day off and you need that Raider Nation fix, whether you're riding in the car or about to fly on the plane like I'm about to go ahead and do tomorrow to see and hang out with Raider Jeff or working out or whatever it is, but look no further than the longest podcast ever, the Raider Nation podcast. And on behalf of myself, Raider Randy, and as you just heard recently, oftentimes Raider Greg, let the Raiders get together and say, Raiders. See you next season, and stay tuned. So says the Prez.